But I'll be allowed to practice regularly, not for me, but for public works, for development works. And sometimes I have seen to give the briefing, it may not be proper in every cases. So it is better if we can fight ourselves, then at least who knows the things, at least may get the opportunity, because now also I am continuing the Bar Association membership. So please give me the live member. Every year giving the subscription, instead of that, give me the live membership, so that sometimes we also on behalf of people, I can assure you no money we will take for that. Only voluntarily. Sir, thank you very much. This judiciary is an important temple for us. It is just like Mandir, Masjid, Gurudwara and Girja. It is our supreme authority for delivering the justice to the people, the last frontier for getting justice and upholding constitutional rights. I believe this judiciary is government of the judiciary, by the judiciary, for the judiciary. No. Government, this judiciary is of the people, by the people, and for the people. If judiciary cannot help us, means not me, the common people, then where the people will get the justice? When the people, any problem comes, when we have seen some atrocious, terrible things, then only we hope with a greater interest that only judiciary can solve this problem, and we just watch judiciary. We think they are our the big pillar of the foundation of this country to save the democracy, to save the constitution, and to save the people interest and everything. We are honored and grateful, and I think our privilege that Mr. Chandrachudji has initiated so many things, especially for digitization and judiciary, e-legal system. In our state, we are e-governance, we are number one, sir. You'll be happy to know. And in our state, we have already Honorable Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court has mentioned, we gave 1,000 crores we already spent for judiciary for development. Also, we provided 70 acres of land, and also we provided land for another new high court. That's Rajarhat. It's a posh area. You asked me one building, I gave it next day. I vacated this building for government, and next day I provided this. We have 88 fast-track court, though earlier Attorney General is here for his information. Earlier, Government of India should have provided the assistance for this fast-track court. But before 8 years ago, they have withdrawn all these facilities. But now we are running, we are the only state we are running 88 fast-track court. Out of that, 55 women fast-track court. And also we have 6 POSCO court. We have 19 human rights courts. We have so many courts like this, and also Jalpaiguri Circuit House, Circuit Bench also, it is new one. And our Judicial Academy, it is one of the biggest academy in the world, and it is very popular. We are proud of our students, and whoever is coming from the judiciary, they are the asset of the country and the asset of the world. Only my humble request will be to all of you. First, I want to apologize to mention this to all of you. It is not my intention to humiliate or manhandle to anyone, but my submission, my kind submission, that please see no political biasness in judiciary. Judiciary must be pure, absolutely pure, honest, secret, and let the people do the puja. Like Sanskrit, they say sometimes puja, sometimes for all the caste, all the creed, all the community, all the people. Even northeastern people are here from Andaman. They are really neglected. Give them bigger opportunity. Sometimes to come to Calcutta and other places also for their greater interest, because nobody takes care for them. They are really neglected. I will appeal for them also. With this word, thank you very much for convening this conference here, and please do it in every time. From our side, there are so many places are available also. I thank to ITC for organizing all these things, West Bengal government, my chief secretary, my police commissioner, my law ministry, my finance ministry, and all, and press media and all. But at the same time, I will request you to do it more and more so that we can interact and we can open our mouth also. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
কলকাতায় আইন সম্মেলন অনুষ্ঠানে মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় একই মঞ্চে প্রধান বিচারপতি এবং মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়।
Call upon the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, to give voice to the keynote address. My Lord, the Chief Justice of India.
Namaskar. Honorable Ms. Mamata Banerjee ji, Honorable Chief Minister, my brother judges, Justice Bhushan Gavai, Justice Dipankar Datto, Justice Rajesh Bindal, Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court, Justice T.S. Sivagnanam, Honorable Judges of the Calcutta High Court, Mr. R. Venkatramani, the very distinguished Attorney General for India, Justice Aniruddha Bose, Dada for us, who has been a very valued colleague and now the Director of the National Judicial Academy, the Law Minister, Finance Minister of the State of West Bengal, all the dignitaries who have come, judges who have come from across various states to attend the regional conference, ladies and gentlemen. The State Judicial Academy and the Chief Justice of the High Court could not have chosen a more topical area for our discussion over the next 2 days. Essentially, this conference speaks of contemporary judicial developments and strengthening justice through law and technology. The word contemporary is very important because it does not speak about the work which we do in the abstract, but in the context of contemporary societal challenges which we as judges face in the work which we do. We therefore look at law and its intersection of technology from the perspective of the societal conditions in which those whom we serve exist in our societies. Because the true merit of our work lies in addressing the challenges faced by those at whose feet we are intended to serve, namely the common citizens of India. The first important theme that we are going to discuss is the principle of constitutional morality. Now, if you look at the Constitution, the text of our Constitution does not use the expression constitutional morality. This phrase, into inverted commas, constitutional morality, is not found anywhere in the Constitution. The Constitution uses the expression morality, but it does not use the expression constitutional morality. Now, all of you may be asking a basic question, which is, why are we discussing a phrase which is not used in the Constitution at all? What is the relevance to district judges, high court judges, to the officers of the state, to civil society, of a phrase which is not used in the Constitution? The Constitution uses the expression morality, but morality in the Constitution is used as a restraint on fundamental rights. The Constitution allows for restrictions to be imposed by law on the right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a) by Article 19(2) on various grounds including morality. Likewise, the Constitution contemplates that restrictions can be imposed on the right to freedom of association inter alia on grounds of morality. So morality in Article 19(2) and Article 19(4) is a restraint on the rights of the citizens. Is that the morality that we speak of when we talk about constitutional morality? Now, that's one of the basic questions which we have to address. If constitutional morality has not been addressed in the Constitution as a textual expression, what is the value addition to the constitutional discourse that we in a regional conference, a high-powered conference of senior judges from across the region are discussing this concept? That's the first question which I must very briefly try and make you all perhaps reflect on. How do you define what is undefined and what is not explicitly stated in the Constitution? Who will define the concept of constitutional morality? We exist in a federal structure. We exist in a federal structure which is marked by a great deal of diversity. I was born in Mumbai, belonged to a small village about 60-70 kilometers away from Pune. My work took me to Allahabad as Chief Justice for 3 years, and now I look at the broader context of the Indian nation. And one thing which cannot but leave a very imperceptible mark on your heart and soul in the work which we do as judges in Delhi is to realize the importance of preserving the diversity of India. So how do we then dwell on the concept of constitutional morality? At one level, constitutional morality is founded in the preambular values, the values which the constitutional preamble sets out. But if these rights have already been enunciated elsewhere in the Constitution, then why constitutional morality? In fact, I was one of those who applied this concept of constitutional morality when I wrote the judgment in the first round of the battle between the NCT of Delhi and the Union of India about 6 or 7 years ago. And responding to that judgment, the learned Attorney General for India, Mr. Venugopal, asked me in another case, he says, "Judge, where do you find this doctrine in the Constitution?" It was an academic discourse as constitutional cases involve. At a certain level, the preamble defines concepts and refers to concepts such as justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, faith, belief, and worship, human dignity, equality, fraternity. Now, these rights, which the preamble refers to, are found in the text of the Constitution. Article 21, the right to life and personal liberty, equality in Article 14. Then why are we evolving this concept of constitutional morality? There is a more deeper reason. And that deeper reason for us to dwell on the concept of constitutional morality is that constitutional morality is an overarching principle which is derived from but is not confined to specific rights or values which are enshrined in the Constitution. Constitutional morality gives you a unifying constitutional ethic. It gives you a unifying constitutional ethic, so every Indian citizen can think as she wishes to think. Every Indian citizen can speak as she wishes to speak. Every Indian citizen can worship as they intend to worship. Every Indian citizen is entitled to follow whoever they want to follow. Every Indian citizen is entitled to eat what she or he wants to eat. Every Indian citizen is entitled to marry whoever she or he wants to marry.